Okay, so we're going to do it a little different this time. We're going to go ahead and do, I prepared a little presentation for everyone, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. It's kind of a little different kind of presentation than I normally would, because we're talking about what's happened with the regulatory evolution that we're going through right now. Both in Canada and several countries now are struggling with what to do about cryptocurrency and regulation. And that's what the presentation this evening will be about. And hopefully we'll get some answers, and maybe we'll look at a couple of things as a group. And you know, usually we get some pretty good input from others as well about what they think could happen with some of this regulatory stuff that we're all going to be faced with. And one of the ways I like to put it is that it's not if, it's when. Because as with everything, once the government gets involved, then there's going to be regulatory requirements that are going to have to be met. And it's just the way it is. It may take a couple more years or so, but that's, I think, probably on the outside. I think you're looking at probably 1 to 3 years full regulatory compliance, which has ramifications in a lot of different ways. I mean, even insofar as taxation goes. I mean, right now you can buy crypto tax-free. So wherever you're buying it from, whatever exchange or wherever you're buying your crypto right now, you're not paying provincial tax or a federal sales tax. And so that's something. I mean, that's a lot. Those guys take a lot. Like, they take 12% between the two of them, between provincial and federal taxes. So think about that. All of a sudden, every single crypto purchase that you go to make from now on is going to have an extra 12% put on it. So that can be very expensive, you know, and that's not there right now. And you know, let's hope that for as long as possible it stays that way. But we don't have any real way of knowing how long that's going to be. If someone has a question about some of this stuff, and you know, I'm by no means a regulation expert. I don't profess to be. It's just, you know, it's a presentation. I'm going to bring up some interesting thought projects for all of you with regards to crypto and regulation and how that could change in the very near future. But it's up to you to do your own research and really learn on your own. As always, I just give you the introduction to it, and from there it's up to you to take the ball and run with it and learn what you can, because it will affect anyone that's involved in crypto is going to be affected by what I'm going to talk about in this presentation here. And the name of it, of course, Navigating the Future, because it's a future that we all are going to have to navigate. It's something that we have to learn about. So the impact of regulatory evolution on cryptocurrency. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the countries that are being affected by this. The regulatory framework in US right now is being decided on whether or not this is going to be considered a commodity in US. It's been considered a commodity in Canada for quite some time, and so that's why it falls under the purview of Securities and Exchange Commission. But in US, it has been uncertain yet as to which way it's going to go. So if this ends up happening, if it does go through, and the Trade Commission will have all the oversight, and Securities and Exchange Commission will be the ultimate decider of all crypto firms and how they do business and what's going to happen with cryptocurrency in the United States, and anybody who wants to be affiliated with the United States as well, because they can also extend their influence, of course. It's a double-edged sword is what it is. The regulatory part of it seems really bad at the beginning, but it makes market acceptance much, much better. The average person can now have confidence that, you know, this is something that's going to be here to stay. Arguably, there will be better controls in place, so things like FTX won't happen and people won't lose billions of dollars, you know, because some of these things that happen, really, there's some sort of oversight needs to be happening in Canada as well. I mean, I don't know if anyone here has been involved since Quadriga days. Anybody? Yeah? Anybody lost money in Quadriga? No? Okay. It's a Netflix. You can look it up on Netflix. That whole thing with Gerald Cotton. It was you know, a Canadian exchange that was corrupt, and he was basically a guy running around the world with a laptop. And that's how he did all of the whole exchange. It was a website and a laptop. And, you know, I was involved in crypto during that time. And we all thought it was well, Wayne was involved with that too. And we all thought it was a really big organization, like you would think of as a big financial organization. And nope, it was a guy in his laptop. Well, needless to say, the guy in the laptop finally got caught up with, and he died. So nobody knows what happened with that. But that's some 250 million at the time, US dollars, gone.
Do you know the name?
Wallets were emptied. Nobody knows where those funds went to this day, and unfortunately, probably no one ever will.
His name?
Do you know the name of the Netflix movie?
Just look up Quadriga CX or Gerald Cotton.
Gerald Cotton.
Yeah, just think like Cottonwood Tree, Gerald Cotton. And yeah, you'll see it's a pretty interesting movie. And you know, there's I don't remember the name of it. Well, Wayne will look it up. We'll figure it out in a minute here. But it was it's a true story. That's the amazing thing. And his girlfriend and later to be wife is still feeling the fallout from this whole thing. I mean, her life was ruined.
Thailand or something.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but yeah, her life is ruined. I mean, like really can't get a job or anything. And you know, he apparently died in India, but who really knows that? I mean, there's no. The body was miraculously cremated immediately, so there's no.
Got missing.
Yeah, and 250 million US at the time. That was in cryptocurrency. That's when Bitcoin was selling for roughly about, I don't know, $600. So yeah, needless to say that 250 million probably is like billions of dollars now. You know, so that's kind of wild. Gerald Cotton. Yeah. Oh, the good ones are on this side. Bad ones are on the outside.
Oh, I took a photo.
Oh, okay. Sometimes all of them are bad. Gerald Cotton, Netflix. Very interesting, and that was, you know, other exchanges have gone down before that, other big U.S. exchanges. There's been many. Binance has lost money, I think, a couple times, haven't they, Sean? At least a couple times. So it's not something that's unusual, and that's why we always harp at people to make sure you don't leave any funds on exchanges. Put them on hardware wallets. Yeah, The Hunt for the Crypto King. That's the name of it. Wayne just put it up there. Gerald Cotton. It's a Netflix, Netflix movie. Yeah, and that happened right here in Canada. So, you know, it happens everywhere. And for these reasons, I think that before it'll hit mainstream, before people will start really accepting it, it's going to have regulations. As much as it pains me to say that, I wish that, you know, it could be that utopia kind of thing where the industry itself would police itself and they'd make sure that these bad actors are gone and stuff like that. But there's one of the reasons we started this group was that people were getting taken advantage of, and people were telling, you know, tall tales about cryptocurrency and how much money you could make when, you know, we still really believe it's a good asset, and we do believe that it will continue to increase in value, and that's not giving any financial advice, of course, but that doesn't mean that you're also, you know, pie in the sky. One of the first things I always tell people is be prepared for it to be worth 20% tomorrow of what it is today. So if you have $1,000 in cryptocurrency, tomorrow it could be worth $200, and that wouldn't be an unusual thing. So if you're not prepared for that, don't even get involved, because you're just the stress level will be too much for you. And there are some people, all joking aside, that the stress level is just too much. Even with small investments, they're constantly on their phone and they can't handle it, you know, and stuff. That's not the person that really wants to be involved in crypto, because inevitably they'll get scared, it'll drop down in value, and they'll sell it off. And you know, we know what happens then. You buy high and you sell low and you lose money all the time. And then crypto's the worst thing ever. Then you get the exact same scenario where the guy bought, it dropped down to nothing, and he said, well, I'm going to buy a little bit more so my cost is lower for what I have. And then 2 or 3 years later, it's worth 10 times. So, you know, there's both types of people. We've got to very carefully try and make sure we pick what kind of people we want to be. We want to be the kind of people that don't get scared when it goes down to 20% of its value. We want to see that as a buying opportunity. So one of the things I post even on Facebook all the time is like, a sale is on, like, you know, jump in. And I've been posting that for quite some time now, especially when Bitcoin went down among its lowest. And, you know, some people listen and some people buy, and others would prefer to buy when it hits its all-time high. And, you know, I'm not one to judge. Do what you think is right. But to me, buying when it's at its all-time low or half its value that it was a year ago is a good time to buy. But what do I know? No technical problem, see? Okay, introduction to crypto regulation. So, yeah, there is an importance, and we do need some clarity. Like, even people that work in the industry, there's a lot of times there's not real clarity on how to do things and how to deal with things. And I won't get into any of that, of course. And anybody who has questions or serious, you know, questions about accountability and how to deal with this and taxation and stuff like that, I would suggest that you talk to your accountant about that, because I don't get involved in any of that kind of stuff either. But having said that, as legislation comes in, it'll be easier for accountants and other people in administrative kind of capacities, banks, others. You'll be able to take your cryptocurrency into the Royal Bank and use it as collateral to buy a house.
Fighting against the banks and the paper money con. He's the future in a case never withdrawn.